Hi everyone, I'm Devin. I'm a dietitian. I'm also a board certified specialist in weight management. And chances are, if you're here, if you're watching this, you are struggling and you're at your wits' end on what you actually need to be doing to lose this weight and everything that comes with it. Like, we know it is a lot, right? And you're really serious about actually keeping it off at this point and like never ever having to worry about this again. So let's get into like how are we actually going to make that happen, right? So moving on to the next slide, just a little bit about me. Some of my very favorite things are animals, traveling, and sweets. Yes, sweets. Even as a dietitian, that is my very favorite thing. And I'm going to show you that it is perfectly fine if it's your thing too. When you actually do not have to avoid sugar in order to get to your goals. More to come on that later, but very long story short, I too was wrapped up in all things diet culture. I've tried everything out there. If you remember the lemonade diet, that was probably the worst one. It was bad. It was bad. I've tried intermittent fasting, fat burners, the special K diet, military diet, you name it. I've probably done it. I was totally fed up. I was miserable. I was confused. I was overwhelmed to say the least on like what I actually need to be doing to get the results and like be happy, right? So I got really curious. I started researching everything that I could, self-educating, and really like long story short from there I fell in love. I knew that I needed to make becoming a dietitian my career. So, if you're watching this, likely you are struggling, right? You've never been able to lose weight and keep it off. You are getting older. And you know that this is creating a massive, massive issue. You want to feel confident, right, in your body and your clothes, but like honestly, you have not felt that way in years. And you know that there's got to be a solution. We know that, right? But you don't want to be controlled every day by constant hunger and stress and cravings and restriction. And you've heard all about probably various promises on the internet, but you've honestly never tried working with an actual dietitian that's actually built a program specifically for you and your individual problems. um, you also might have a goal to understand like how to eat as you age alongside all the changes that your body's going through, but you've never quite learned that because you might have relied on diets, right? Crash things or like simply just regimens that were not designed for you and your body. Like this stuff is not going to work anymore in this current phase of life. And you're coming to this conclusion, right? That is good. That is why you're here watching this video. So let's just be honest, you are either, stuck in the diet cycle or you're DIYing it and it's not your fault, but you might have been dieting since for a long time. I've heard it go back to like teenage years or younger. Like maybe your mother was on diets. It's a really common thing, like your entire life. You might have even been taken to some Weight Watchers meetings and you've done this kind of thing like on and off, nothing works because it's not something that is sustainable, right? And realistic. And like the things that you're trying are just, they're not built for you, especially during this phase of life. If you haven't, on the other side, like if you haven't dieted your whole life, chances are like things have just gotten more just difficult, as you age to where like things that once worked in the past just don't anymore. You're getting busier, you have a career more than likely, a family, maybe some kids, and you don't know which direction to go anymore. And you're having information overload, to say the least. You're gaining weight, you're trying to navigate perimenopause, and things are just getting harder. um, at the end of the day, your clothes don't fit. You don't like what you see in the mirror. You think the whole situation is just getting worse. You want to do something about it, but like you don't have any energy to do anything about it. You're starving every single day with crazy cravings, like maybe some nighttime eating. You know that you are at an all time low, with your nutrition, your health. You are seriously worried that this is going to get worse or that you're going to develop potentially like a health condition, like diabetes, or maybe you currently have, pre-diabetes or another health condition and you are so scared that this is going to get worse. Like we have to take control of the root cause. So Next thing here, I'm gonna go over like a few things that you really, really need to be doing so that you can get an idea. Like this is meant to be kind of like a mini training, so you can take some notes and you can go like after this video and try to DIY all of this, or you can watch the video and then after you can decide that like you really want more personalized support and you can go fill out my consult form. So but first, let's get into it, okay? Your hormones have gotten kind of crisscross. Like you start hitting 35 and beyond, and these start changing, okay? So perimenopause comes into play. Metabolism slows down. The way that we burn fat changes. But all of that can be healed with the way that you eat, the way that you move, the way that you sleep, nutrition protocols, right? And everything like that. But it does take a professional, an expert, like a dietitian to get these hormones back in the order that they should be in so that they're working for you, right? To burn the fat and to lose those weight. And more importantly, have the tools to keep it off, you know? You need to be working with your body versus against it for it to change how you want it to. And I know that may be difficult if you lived a certain way for like a long time, right? And possibly not just a long time, it might even be like your whole life. But the restrictive patterns, they're just not going to work anymore. We're going to keep spinning our wheels. So you might feel right now that you're kind of running on fumes or on caffeine. I hear that a lot, you know. It is honestly, it's draining. That's an understatement. It's no way to live. You know, you deserve to show up for yourself at your best and show up for your family at your best too. So here's what where we're gonna start, right? I want to make sure you're gonna take some notes here. Again, this is kind of meant to be like a little mini training. So these are important things. So number one, what I really want you to start doing is we're not skipping meals anymore, okay? As you've noticed, all this does is it worsens the dragging all day. Okay. It leads to crazy cravings, which you might notice this, and nighttime eating, which really it makes it really, really difficult to get to the goals that you have if you're constantly dragging and you have no fuel for your body to change how you want, right? So no skipping meals, okay? The second thing, I want you to start eating at least, okay, 20 to 30 grams of protein at every single meal. There's now there, I'm gonna back up really quick. There's a lot of buzz about protein, protein, protein. Okay. I'm gonna be like quickly say like protein nor fiber are the be all, okay, when it comes to nutrition. Your struggles, they run a lot deeper than just protein and fiber. But yes, it's a good starting point. So we're gonna start there. The third thing, I want you to get it out of your head that carbs are bad. Okay. You need carbs. And if you've ever done like, you know, low carb diet, you can see it's not sustainable, right? You're miserable on it and you can never keep the weight off after. And not to mention, like carbs are absolutely necessary when it comes to your health, you know, as you're entering perimenopause and menopause and you know, they play a huge role in supporting your, you know, changing hormones and metabolism. So keeping that in mind, okay? We need them to thrive. Let's put it that way. Number four, I want you to focus on four things, okay, when putting your plate together to create balance. So kind of ingrain this in your mind, okay? Protein, carb, vegetable, and fat. I'll say it again because it's that important. Protein, carb, vegetable, fat source. Now, like not every meal needs all four of these, but try to aim for 85% of your meals to have that type of balance. Next, we want to stop with the skimpy meals. Less calories and less in your portions is like not healthier, it's not better. This is causing you to feel just out of control later on. Like, same thing with starting to include your favorite foods. Like, we need to include that, otherwise, we get out of control. And the more that, you know, we wait, we avoid it, we finally get our hands on it, and then we, you know, we're out of control, right? And we end up overdoing it. So, let's move on to the next thing here. We know like there's a lot of misinformation out there and like non-dietitians telling you what you need to be eating and what to be doing and shaming foods. And like quite frankly, if we're just really honest, they lack credibility, okay, and credentials, and they're only adding to like more confusion and overwhelm that you don't need, you know? You need at this point a real strategy, you know, from the expert, from the professional, from the dietitians that you don't have to waste more years. being totally stuck like DIYing it and trying different diets that are just never going to work for you anyway. And this might sound deep, but it's true, right? Like you don't want to wake up one day and you're 80 years old and you're looking back and your struggles are worse than ever because you never took that leap. So, moving on to the next thing here, like please, please know that you do not have to be miserable, deprived, and restricted, and that you can eat all of your favorite foods, okay, to lose the weight at the same time. And I know this to be true because I see it work with my clients every single day. Like, in fact, eating your favorite foods is part of like what's going to allow you to actually finally be happy, and consistent. And we know consistency is the key to getting to your goals. Like, we've got to have that. I can't tell you how many clients have had that. They were so nervous in the beginning to eat their favorite foods. And after a while, they're like, oh my gosh, like I could eat this and still get results. And like, yes, you might be thinking, like, okay, I would love to make that happen. We want that, right? Like, how? That is where I come in to help. So, the next thing here, I want you to visualize. I would have stopped here. Visualize everything that we've been talking about, right? The messed up hormones, the messed up metabolism, the messed up dieting history. Like you are tired, right? You're tired of living this way. I want you to visualize just more consistency and ease, right? No more guessing, ease of knowing what to eat every day, knowing what to be doing, feeling good, right? No more falling off the wagon. I know it sounds too good to be true, but like you can actually do it because all these clients that I'm about to show you have done it too. So I know it's possible for you too. So visualizing being like, at your happiest, your healthiest, healthiest self versus saying like, oh, like this is something so common I hear. Oh, I'm just getting older. This is how it's going to be. Because no, that is not how it's supposed to be. It's not, okay? There's more for you, and I can promise you that. Visualize like looking in the mirror, right? And liking the way that your clothes look, and maybe like we're not necessarily trying to go for that like 20s pre-baby body, we're trying to go for that most confident version of yourself right now. So imagine a healthy, bright future with years to come with your family. And if you have kids, grandkids, that's really important. And this is more serious than you might be taking it. It's not another diet. This is like we have to fix your problem now type of thing. And that's going to last forever when we get you there. Um, so next thing here, kind of just spinning off of what I was saying on the last slide, like we all know, right? It is very scary to start something new. We know that. But staying stuck is so true, right? Staying stuck in the same spot is even worse, right? So we have to figure it out like one way or another. So really quick, we have about 1 minute left here. These results, this is kind of what I wanted to show you. So we want your old clothes to fit, right? You want to lose about 20 pounds or more. You want to look up in the end and say, like, this was the best thing that literally ever happened to me. I did it. I got to my end goals. My energy levels are higher. I've lost my body fat. I feel good. I look in the mirror and I like myself again, right? A lot of times I hear ladies saying, I don't even recognize myself anymore. I just want to get back to where I was. That's what you want. And you're not going to get it like you're not going to get it any other way. So ultimately, working together, getting your hand held, getting your questions answered every single day, helping you with what to eat, when to eat, how to control cravings, how to balance in all your favorite foods, like without any more restriction. Having help like all week long to navigate all the busyness, life stuff, all the chaos, that's gonna be what gets the results. Like you have to navigate all those things and you have to have support. So you also want to take away all the guesswork too. That's another thing, not being constantly stressed about what the heck to do every day. And just finally make this feel simple. And that is something else that my clients tell me like shortly after getting started is that this just feels a lot like easier, than they thought it would. Like after spinning their wheels with restrictive regimens and things just constantly, feeling hard all the time and always being on a diet, like we want to get away from that, right? Exercising consistently. I mean, you can see all these client wins here, being consistent with exercise and like actually also too like having the energy to do it. Like we need that, sleeping better, the whole nine. Um And so, kind of finishing up here, what you need to do next is make a decision today that you are going to change your whole life. Fill out my consult form. I'm going to come back with the top problems that I'm assessing from a professional standpoint, and we'll just chat. I'm going to help you if you let me, and you are going to look back and just be so happy that you did this. Honestly, I have something for every price point, every goal, and several different levels of coaching. And I cannot wait to chat more with you after I see your form come through. We'll chat soon.